Off-season training simply is when you're in a phase of training when you're not doing any important racing. You might still have a race here or there, but a few episodes ago we talked about the difference between a priority race, like an A level event, or B and C level event. So the races that you would have in your off-season training phase are going to be B and C level races. You're doing races, but they're not priority events. You're not doing any special training for them. You're simply doing them as sort of competitive training sessions, and you're learning from race experience. The main focus of off-season training is to do training that is preparing you for the training that you will do in the competitive season, and then obviously the racing that you will do in the competitive season. And the fact that racing is so far down the road from where you're at in your training year at the moment when you're starting off-season training, it gives you a lot of flexibility to address things in your training that maybe aren't the best thing to address when you've got an A-level race in 6 weeks. So you can do things like you can really nail down your aerobic base, which is best developed by doing a lot of lower level aerobic work, level 2, low level 3, relatively low heart rates, but for long periods of time. Um, and you can do a lot of strength work, making strength your priority, maybe over paddling. So you're doing your strength training first rather than your on water training. So your nervous system's fresh for the strength work. And then the other thing you can do is you can spend a lot of time addressing technique. And if you're lucky enough to be able to paddle during the off season, you can address technique. And
Yeah.
so,
If someone's not able to access water during that time, is that when we pull out the land drills and all the land based
yeah,
technique?
yeah. I mean, if you can't paddle, like for instance, this winter I only was able to paddle twice in 3 months, which is really unusual. It was just a really particularly cold and blustery winter. Our water froze earlier, and the big open water in the lake was really nasty most days because of the direction the wind was going and the strength of the wind. So I didn't paddle much. But what I did do is I looked at a lot of video. I did a lot of visualization, thinking about what I had been working on right up until I was frozen off the water. And I did a lot of land drills that augment the things that I was working on. And so surprisingly, when I got back in the water, I actually felt almost right away, I felt, in surprisingly good command of my technique. And I'm about 200 kilometers into my year right now, and things have progressed really well. So it is possible to work on technique without actually being in the water. The best scenario is where you could be on the water a couple times a week, working on technique while you're working on all the land-based work. That's really the sort of the cornerstone of your off-season training program.
Yeah.